Hey there, this is K4A, Knowledge for All educational videos channel. We are continuing with learning GameMaker Studio 2 drag and drop system, learning new actions, new buttons on it. And today we are going to learn the Draw Self action, which will help us resolve the problem from the last video. In last video we have added some kind of action which is called Draw Value. It is one of the drawing action buttons of the GameMaker Studio drag and drop system, the second from the left in the first row, but we have a problem now when we go to our game, our scene room, and we start the game. We have the value, we have the text which we need in top of the left of our screen, but the coin has disappeared. Why is that so? Let's see and how to show the coin again on the screen. So this yellow circle represents the coin. We had it on the screen, but when we added this draw value, the coin disappeared. Why is that so and how that works? As you have seen in last video, when we added the draw event, something happened. GameMaker Studio works in that way that unless you have a draw event, it will show on the screen, draw on the screen the objects with their sprites as you have added the sprites on by default. Or here, like, you can pick any sprite and add it to the object. We have learned that before. Then you go into the room, click here on the object, drag and drop, and that's it, or this one, and that's it, and it will work. GameMaker does that by default. You don't have to code anything or add anything, but the moment you add this draw event, and we need to add that event if we want to draw some text or numbers on the screen, and the moment you add that on some kind of object, GameMaker says this: okay, if you want to draw, I will have to clean your sprite from the screen. So if you had this yellow circle, I will have to delete it to hide it, and that's it. I don't know what do you want to draw, so if you want to draw that again, you have to tell me. So again, just to explain it once more to be sure you have understand it, the GameMaker will, when you add this draw event, the GameMaker will hide your default sprite on the screen. So if you have an object with a sprite, it will hide this sprite which is on your object, the default sprite. Why is that so? That's some kind of internal things for GameMaker, but you don't have to deep dive into it to understand or so on. Just remember it, or if you see some kind of disappearing on the screen, try to check if your object has draw event and what you have in that draw event. We will show up right now how to solve it, but probably the solution will be there, draw event, and add some more code in it. We'll show that now, and that is very important. But as I said before, it happens all the time when you work longer or whatever time you have involved yourself in GameMaker Studio. From time to time you will make those kind of errors, and the solution is simple. The GameMaker Studio has this action here which is called Draw Self, and once you drag and drop it into the GameMaker Studio, it applies to the object which you have added this action to. In our case, that's obj coin, and it will draw this sprite here which we have added before. In our case, that is sprite yellow circle for the coin. So what we are saying here now is, first, draw myself. Draw myself means draw this yellow circle, and then draw some text or so on, whatever the coder told you to do. So let's see now if this will show up the yellow circle. Yes, so now we have both the yellow circle, and that is because we said draw self, and we also have a value in the top left corner which says coin to 12,000, and that's it. That works nice. I wanted to show you a couple of other things here. Yeah, I left this one relative and this one relative from the last video. I haven't explained that, so let's try to see that in action. What that will do, it will add the text which we have typed here, coin and 12,000, but it will add it relative to the coin. So if the coin is here in my top right corner, bottom right corner, text will be added to the coin right there. If it's here, it will add it here into the bottom left coin, and so on. Wherever I move the coin on the screen, this text coin 12,000 will be relative to that X and Y position. So let's try to see if that's true. Yes, this works nice. So I have a coin and 12,000, and why is it showing on the top of it and not in the middle of the coin? Because our Sprite coin has top left pivot point. Pivot point is this little cursor here. I don't know how to, yeah, can I zoom it? Or yeah, you can see this little cursor like star here in top left corner, and you can pick that pivot here in top right corner in drop down menu, and you can for example, for the most of the player characters and enemies, we will use the pivot point. That means the pivot, the point which is used for rotation and scaling. It will be bottom center, right? You can see this here. And for the coin, it makes more sense to be middle center, I think, in the most games. But you can click and drag it anywhere on the screen as you want, or just pick it from the drop down menu. So let's go with middle center, and let's try now to see where the text will show up. It would, I think it will show up in the middle of the, yeah, somewhere in the middle of the coin. So again, do we need that there? You can play with these parameters. I can lower it a little bit more, like 20 pixels lower. Yeah, it looks better now, maybe 15. And I can also change and try to delete this coin, and I don't want anything there, so it will now show up only 15, I think. No, 12,000. Yeah, 12,000. So if I want, for example, 10 coins and -5 to make it more centered, like, yeah, a little bit more. So I'm just playing with these parameters to try to center it a little bit better, or I can use those pivot point and sprite and so on. Yeah, it's better now, but I could also do it like this. Let's change it to, yeah, but it's not very precise here, because as you can see here, the problem with this sprite is that it has a lot of free space here around this yellow circle which represents coins, so you cannot have it very precise. You have to play a little bit with parameters, but it doesn't make sense to make these coins so small in this area. We should scale it a bit, or change this into a smaller size of sprite, but I don't want to confuse you anymore. 10 minutes again, great. So again, in this video today we have learned the action draw self. You have to add it to any kind of object you have on the screen if you have this draw event on it. So if you have draw event on the object, you will probably have need draw self action on it to show that sprite of that object on the screen, and then after that add value like draw value and so on, and then you can play with it. So if, for example, if we have added this to a player, it would follow up player all the time and so on, like inventory or a name of the player and so on. And yeah, in some cases, like when you have game manager and so on, you probably won't need this draw self. I will show that later if we add that in our game, but so far for the most of the time you will use this draw self for the objects which have sprites. It's simple as that, but it's simple also to forget it, and then you will have invisible objects on your screen in your game. So far so good. See you soon in next video, and thanks for watching.